I think my husband, 27, is lying about having cancer. So my husband, 27, and I, also 27, have been married for 4.5 years. We met when we were in 7th grade and the relationship hasn't been perfect at all. He is a compulsive liar and an alcoholic. Over the course of our relationship he has lied almost weekly about drinking and almost daily about small things like what he had for dinner and or if he brushed his teeth. Anyways, I left him in May of 2021 after I found him passed out in the bathroom because he huffed a can of air. We moved out, the kids and I lived with my best friend, we were co-parenting fairly well. Then in October he shared he had lab work done and needed to go back because he had a growth on his liver. The official diagnosis came in December. On the day of our wedding anniversary no less. I invited him back into the home under the pretext that I would take care of him while he was sick. He said he had 12 rounds of chemo, surgery, etc. all planned. He did not want me to go with him to his first appointment because he needed space. We were separated so I didn't push. But I wasn't letting him keep me from the chemo treatments, so I took him to the hospital, but he wouldn't allow me to go inside. He said COVID restrictions, etc. I also believed that because COVID and cancer patients and he was my husband so I tried to trust him. I stayed in the car. For 4 hours. Once a week. After 6 weeks he said he was done with part 1 and it was time for them to look at the scans and plan for surgery. When the results of the scans came, his cancer was magically gone. What a miracle. I asked for some sort of lab work or documentation to prove it was finally over. I couldn't believe my ears. How amazing. I need to see it in writing. He said they don't do that. I started to get suspicious. I asked for any documentation. A bill, a patient portal, literally anything. He couldn't provide anything. I called the man he claimed to be his doctor to find out when his follow-up appointment was so I could put it in our calendar on the fridge, and they had no history of him in their system. So I asked him to confirm the doctor's name and number that I called, to which he did. I called the right place. He showed me a portal, but it was for a hospital. Not a specific doctor or speciality. So I went to the hospital to see if I could make the same portal without any doctor's information. And guess what? I could. I eventually said I was going to bring in a third party to mediate if he couldn't provide anything, so see if I am a crazy person for accusing him of something so outlandish. And the next day he provided me an invoice. However, it looked sketchy. I Googled fake invoice, and literally the first link was identical to the invoice he sent me. But it was an edited version. He was able to input what he needed. His name, the doctor and the address, etc. It was a template he filled out. There is more evidence against him, but this post is long enough. Am I crazy for accusing him of lying? I just want to know what he was doing in a hospital for 4 hours a week. Let me just say that if I had cancer and someone, especially a significant other, accused me of lying, I would shove so much proof in their face it would bury them tears of joy. My point is that with all of that going on he should have so much proof to show you it's unquestionable. Hospitals have no shortage of paperwork, and with what you're saying it's pretty clear why you think he's lying, because all signs point to it. You hand him an invoice from a divorce lawyer. You aren't crazy. He is a liar and manipulator and faked the cancer diagnosis for sympathy and reconciliation. Leave this dude already, for good this time. Is his name Matthew? Because my ex did the same and is that age with a kid and a wife now. Since you, now, know that he's lying, saw your post on Ask Docs and you_know_ he's lying, but also. He is a compulsive liar and an alcoholic. Over the course of our relationship he has lied almost weekly about drinking and almost daily about small things. Why on earth are you still with him? My fiancée is best friends with her ex that cheated on her. My fiancée always tells me that the worst thing I could do to her is cheat on her and how it would destroy her and how she has no tolerance for that. Blah blah blah. Then a while later I find out that her best friend is her ex. At first I was thinking how odd that is. I've never been best friends with an ex, but there are some that I've talked to off and on as friends if things ended on good terms. A bit of backstory. My fiancée and I were talking about past relationships when she says something along the lines of, "Yeah, I've had relationships that I should have never been in." Then she tells me about how one of her friends that I met a few times used to live together and were dating for years, only for her to come home one day and see him and some other girl in her bed. She then says how they didn't talk for a while but he apologized enough, and they rebuilt their friendship. I expressed that I was uncomfortable with their current relationship, especially since they go on group friend trips together and are actively planning one for later this year. She said I was looking too deeply into it and that it wasn't a huge deal. How do I tell her without seeming controlling or insecure that if that relationship doesn't end that I won't be marrying her? Update for everyone. I came home from work and made it about her, not me. I told her that I thought it was disrespectful to herself to let this guy still be in her life and that she shouldn't want to create any doubts between us with this sort of thing. I then told her that as her future husband I can't allow someone who ruined your life to still be in it. That's me not doing my job. After about 30 minutes she deleted his contact and removed him from all her socials. I then told her that if there is anything else like that in her past she should tell me now because I don't want to find out about any other surprises in the future. All in all, the talk went well and the issue is resolved. How are you engaged to this woman, and are just now figuring out who her best friend is? She never told you she had a sexual history with a person she spends a lot of time alone with? Wowzers, that was super intentional. You shouldn't marry someone you don't really know. I would hold off getting married to her. Her having a best friend who had a relationship and slept with is a major red flag. He remaining in your future wife's life will be troublesome for your relationship. You will be uncertain every time they spend time alone if they are hooking up like before. If she is sharing your intimate secrets with him, your fiancé will be gaslighting you into thinking there is nothing going on between them and you will be unsure if it is true. You will need to run a DNA test for every kid you have to be sure they are not her ex's kids. Settle this red flag before getting Marie. If she can accept an cheating ex, she will accept cheating in your relationship too. If your fiancé is on the level, she is a person who forgives pretty easily, however she seems to be in the twilight zone regarding how she has no tolerance for cheating. I think you need to be as casual, blunt, and unemotional as possible and just tell her that her close relationship with her ex makes you very uncomfortable. If she is amenable to discussion, you should be flexible and bring up how you are not comfortable with her traveling with an ex and that her own stated boundary was she has no tolerance for cheating. As your fiancé and being in a serious relationship, she should show respect for your boundary even if she doesn't wholeheartedly agree with it. I would suggest avoiding an ultimatum to avoid drama for the time being. Wedding plans should be on full pause. You are correct in that she craves his acceptance as some form of validation for her. This guy may never ever be out of her life. Just avoid any future drama. I have a boyfriend that would manipulate to reach his goals. I've known that about him. Before we started dating, when we were best friends, we would be sitting in some public space and he would tell me to choose any random person and my boyfriend would walk to that person and convince them to do anything he wants without doing any effort. Especially when it comes to girls. He barely goes to classes and in just one phone call a girl would come to his house and give him everything they studied and asks him if he needs help in anything. Also, if he wants me to do something for him, he has his ways with me. He makes me hot to the point where I can't refuse anything from him. I've came to conclude, and he confirmed my thoughts, that he sees everyone as some dominoes he plays with. I really think he needs therapy. I have no one to talk about this with because he has everyone on a rope. If I tell them, they'll immediately tell him. Why don't you just break it off with him since you know he'll constantly be manipulating you? Sounds like a shitty relationship to me. The behavior you describe is that of a sociopath. Literally. I would be careful about being in a relationship with someone like that. Do you want to be in a relationship with someone who uses people? Uses you? Run and don't look back. You know he'll lure you back if he gets his hooks into you, so break all contact and block him on all your media. Break up with him. He's going to manipulate you the entire relationship and can't be trusted. He thinks it's fun and likes messing with you and others. What kind of person is that? Leave him and get someone who's better. You need therapy. You have the wherewithal to know that you're being manipulated, but you're still in the relationship. You're trying to convince yourself that it'll stop if he gets help, but it won't. First of all, he has no reason to change. The system works for him, he sees little to no negative repercussions for it, and he benefits. Second, he may not be able to change in the near, or even distant, future, as it can take many years to break habits that have been present for all of a person's life. Get yourself some therapy and then find a healthy relationship with someone else. Why do you think he would ever go to therapy? He's getting everything he wants and sees no reason to change. You have a choice. Keep being manipulated or leave. That's all there is. My friends made fun of me that I'm not physical with my GF. So I, M20, was talking to my friends today and we were talking about our girlfriends and they asked me if I smashed her, F18, yet. I said no, we're going on her time until she feels comfortable. We haven't even kissed yet. I wish I didn't say that because they just started laughing saying she's not my girl if we haven't even kissed. I didn't really put much thought into us being physical because she likes to take things slow and I didn't want to pressure her. Now I feel like an idiot and thinking maybe she's just not attracted to me. I'm just overthinking the kissing part and putting way too much pressure on myself. Yeah, it's not normal 5 months in to not have kissed yet, but I thought we were just going on her time. I'm also not a touchy-feely person, which doesn't help. I just don't know what to do. I don't want to talk to her about it because I don't want to pressure her. Maybe I just need to find a natural time for me to ask to kiss her. Too long did not read. Friends made fun of me for not kissing my girlfriend yet and now I'm overthinking about it. Don't force yourself on her. But maybe she's waiting for you to make a move. One day when you're close, ask her, "Can I kiss you?" And if she says no, don't do it. If she says yes, then do. My ex asked me for our first kiss and I thought it was really sweet and I appreciated that. Dude, learn now. Not to ever talk about your girl with these ahs or anyone else either. It's not a bragging right. You're really young. I understand the peer pressure and the need to feel like one of the boys. They are just trying to one-up each other. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Keep things to yourself in future. You don't need to engage with them. That aside, it is quite unusual not to have kissed after 5 months. Have you guys discussed this? You should talk to her because maybe there is a misunderstanding and she is waiting for you to make a move. But honestly, if she isn't ready to kiss you after 5 months, you should probably part ways if having a physical relationship is remotely important to you. This is so incredibly rude and immature. Your friends asking if you smashed her yet is cringe, and you actually answering that shit is also super immature. How would you like her girlfriend to go around talking about your performance in bed with her friends? Is she consenting to you talking about your sex life with your dude bros? Gross. Sounds like you were doing fine until your friends influenced you. You shouldn't let your friends make you feel insecure about things that didn't previously bother you.